Today, I want to help you when it comes to leading games in your youth ministry. For some people, this comes natural and it seems easy, but I almost guarantee you that anybody you see who leads like that has a lot of practice and has learned from a lot of mistakes. Let me share with you a few tips, not only from my 20 years of youth ministry, but I've learned from others I've worked alongside, like our church's children's pastor. He's a master at games, and a lot of the principles I share with you, I've learned from watching him as well. So check this out. I'm going to help you today be better at leading games and preparing for games in your ministry. First of all, just like any cooking video you watch, before you start cooking, you have to prepare by getting all the ingredients and getting them ready. The same thing applies as getting ready for leading games. When you get ready for a game, this may sound crazy because it's not the fun part, but you need to do your research. Make this a checklist you kind of go through as you prepare for your game, and I guarantee you it will help the actual fun part of the game be even more fun. Think through what is going to be played. What game are you going to play? Who will play? Individuals, teams, students against each other, students against leaders. What supplies are you going to need? Do you already have them? Do you need to go buy them? What space is needed? Is this an indoor game or an outdoor game? Can it work in a classroom or a living room? Or is it going to be played in a big field outside or a parking lot? Are you going to award points, or is this a no points activity? If you're going to award points, how many points? Just the first place or the first, second, and third? Adult supervision. The leaders that you currently have, are they enough to lead this game? Or will you need more help for this game? First aid, especially for games at camp where kids are tired or more active. Are you ready with some band-aids and things to take care of injuries that might happen? Are you going to play with teams or individuals? Are you going to make modifications for students with special needs? Are you ready to explain the rules? And can you do so simply and succinctly? They don't want to listen to 10 minutes of rules for a 5-minute game. Make the rules as simple and as few as possible. Along with that, do you need any visual aids to help explain the game that can make your explanation quicker and more easily understood? There's a lot of things to think about in getting ready for a game. This will help you for the game to go even better. This may seem crazy, but I got this idea from watching Survivor on TV. If possible, grab a few volunteers or parents, even a few students, or maybe people on your staff at church, and practice the game ahead of time. Test it out to see if the space, supplies, time, rules, etc. work. I know this isn't always possible, but I was watching a demonstration video on Survivor of how to play the game, and I realized someone went through the time to practice playing this game, to record it, edit it, and make it to where the viewer at home understands what's about to happen even better. Probably the contestants on the show have a chance to ask questions, which you probably should allow students to do, although too many students asking questions can ruin a game and make it too crazy. But maybe even have a leadership team who knows that one of the perks of their serving with you is getting to practice the games before they are used for real. Next is to have options or a backup. If you plan on playing one game, have two ready. If you plan on being outside, have an indoor option. If you have a game that requires teams, have an individual version ready. Always have a game you can go to if the one you are playing dies or is not possible or just done too quickly. I like to always have a game or two that requires zero supplies that I can play when what I'm playing just isn't working. Sometimes the best planned game just bombs. Don't keep playing it. Stop it, put it out of its misery, and go to something else. Always have something you can go to as a game that the students will enjoy. And the longer you've been doing youth ministry, the more you'll know, oh, there's that one game we played and they loved it. Have that kind of ready to go on hand. You can play it when you need to. Always have options or backup in case things don't go according to plan. The next thing is you need to be flexible. Go into your game prepared, practiced, and with options, but be flexible. Maybe something has to be changed or adapted at the very last minute. Maybe the rules are more confusing than you thought, or there's an option you never thought of in a better way to play the game. Be flexible. It may be a suggestion or a question leads to a better version of the game than even what you thought of ahead of time. Now, this is a big one. Be fair. No million-point bonus question at the end of the game that allows a team that's losing in last place to all of a sudden be the winner. No one wants to play the next game because there's not a point if you can just come in with one question and win. Let the game play out. The one who does the best or gets the most points is your winner. I will say, if you see a pattern and one team or student dominates from week to week, then consider mixing things up somehow. Also consider the types of games you're playing. I'll have another video talking about how to plan games and the variety you should include, but Les Christie has a book I'll mention in the video on games, and he talks about the type of games you play: academic, athletic, team, individual, puzzles, physical challenges. When you mix things up, you allow all different types of students to shine and have fun, which is the point as we're building community through these games. This is a big one too. Block cheating or allow using resources. If you're playing any kind of guessing or trivia game, students with devices will want to and try to use them. If that's not what you had in mind, be very clear when you explain the game and the rules that no one can use any devices for this game. However, if it's okay for students to use a device, be very clear from the beginning they are allowed to use their resources, whatever that might mean. Asking a leader, looking something up online. Now, giving a time limit is really helpful. And if you use a tool like Kahoot or Aha Slides, you get more points the quicker you answer. So, a team that knows the answer and doesn't have to look it up can still get more points from those who do look it up. Remind students of that who either don't have a device or aren't very good with it, that it isn't always the device that makes your team win. But be very clear whether or not you want those helps to be able to be used. Speaking of using resources, you should use your resources. Here are some helpful things for you to use when planning and playing games. The Ultimate Book of Preteen Games. If you're working with upper elementary students, 4th grade through 6th grade, this is a perfect game book for them. It's a little bit older, but I've got a link for it in the description to help you out. If you're working with middle school, high school, junior high, senior high, 7th through 12th, whatever you call them, this is probably the best book on games that I have found ever, and it's in a reprinted edition. Les Christie's Best Ever Games for Youth Ministry is a great book, and here's the deal. You can get some good game ideas from the book, but what's really gold in there are his teachings about how to prepare for and how to play games, how to make them fair, what games you should never play and why, a philosophy of why we play games. There's a lot packed into this games book, so pick it up and check it out and then use some of that material to teach your parents, students, and leaders why you're playing games and how you're going to play them. Now, obviously, there's a lot of online options too. One of my favorite is Grow Games. They created a bunch of games to go along with their curriculum. They also made these games available online and in an app. Some of these even include graphic files for you to use on screen if that works in your location. They're constantly updating this list, so the link is in my description below. Check out Grow Games for a bunch of really good and free online game ideas. Download Youth Ministry is a site you probably have heard of, and they have a bunch of games in their online store. Check those out for some options, and if you can afford to have a membership, then you'll get games that will come as a part of that monthly subscription. Ministry to Youth is another site that also has games in their store along with small group and large group curriculum. There's a link in my description. You can check it out and get even more game ideas from them. If free is more what you're looking for, then the source for youth ministry is the place you want to go. They've collected games from a lot of different resources and put them all in one place. They are my go-to source for games that I use. They're also the #1 site I recommend to my small group leaders and to any parents who are looking for games to use with students. My friend Dan has a team that's put together this website, YouthMinHub.com, and they also have games on their website, some that are for purchase. I would encourage you to check that out. You'll find another set of great resources when it comes to playing games in your youth ministry. To lead games well, you need to prepare well. These tips and resources should help you with preparing and leading games. And one other important and fun tip: get a games person or people. Make this a volunteer leader position of someone who can not only hype up your students, but be flexible and follow the tips I just gave you. It's a way for you to equip and empower someone for ministry that can add a lot of fun and energy, and it's a way for you to give ministry away to somebody else. Hope this video helps you with youth ministry games. If you have questions or some thoughts I didn't include, leave them in the comments to help others. For example, what is your biggest struggle with leading games in your youth ministry? Let me know, and I'll see how we can help you.